Should have thought about it. Okay. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Leadership and Readership Hour. I have a special guest, but let me talk about myself first. So,
As
my name
always.
is Nikki Marie. I'm the host of Nikki Marie Radio and creator of Nikki Marie Radio. And I have the pleasure of being the moderator for this great new podcast that we have called Leadership and Readership, presented by Common Sense WebTalk. So, we have Frank C. Johnson,
That's me.
our relationship coach, author of an amazing book, Revolutionizing How to
Love.
the Love Doctor. And I have my very own signed copy. So thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So a guide to a successful relationship.
Yes.
Let's get into a little bit about who you are before we get into this amazing book
Well, as you said, my name is Frank C. Johnson, author, speaker, love coach,
and all that and more.
all that and more. So much more.
There's so much more to you. So what made you decide to write this book?
Well, I think the main thing that made me decide to write this book was the state of relationships,
Hmm,
which is on the negative side versus the positive side.
right.
I find that there were just way too many people unhappy in their union,
Hmm.
and I felt I had to do my part, Nikki Marie.
Hey, we all have to do our part sometimes, right?
Yeah, I just felt like I had to do something to try to change the dynamic of relationships today.
So, how long did it take for you to piece this book together
I would say,
and tell
un,
everyone how many chapters?
well, there
So, how many, how long did it take for you to piece it together?
it took me about, well, it's kind of like stop and go, but
Okay.
in totality, I would say about a year.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
Mhm.
And how many chapters?
8 prolific, profound
Ugh.
chapters. It's a very straight and direct book.
Okay. We
I wanted
gotta.
I wanted it to be I wanted it to be like a very easy read,
Hmm.
almost like a conversation,
Right.
but I wanted it to be profound and very thought provoking.
So, when we get into the chapters of the book,
Hmm.
explain how each title represents some form of love or something that you were thinking to line it up this the way that you have.
Well, the way that I kind of wrote the book was um, kind of like a chronology, right, from beginning to end. And you know, I think I touched on the main reasons as to why relationships fail, in my opinion, my perspective as to why so many relationships fail, what to do to fix it,
Hmm.
and how to maintain it once it's fixed. Once
Right.
you found that person, and how to maintain it.
Um, love. When we
Love.
think about relationships, we think about how it consumes you in a way
It
because
can.
you fall in love and that person becomes like your breath of air,
Yep.
your life partner that you travel the world with.
Mhm.
Do you believe in love? Like, for you to write this book, is it because you believe in love or
Yes.
you're in love, or like what's your relationship situation?
You had to bring. You had to bring. We were doing so well, Nikki. Nah. I'm not in a relationship right now. I'm actually very single. But the reason why, one of the reasons why I wrote the book is because I have so many female friends.
Okay.
And I think I have a unique perspective and a real perspective as to why relationships fail. And I give a good man's perspective as well, a male's perspective.
I'm glad you said
And thank you very much.
that.
And I think that's important for women to understand, right?
Right.
Because men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right?
Right.
So it's a little bit different. And being the fact that I have 5 sisters and I'm very close with my mother, I think I have a unique power.
I feel like you wanted to say
which is
something else, but
which is I have an understanding of how women are or how women think because I grew up with so much estrogen.
right.
You know what I'm saying? I was in a household with full of women.
Hmm.
So I've been trained in a certain way. I won't even leave the toilet seat up. That might be TMI, but I'm just saying. So like I think I understand how women are, and I'm also a very masculine man
Hmm.
physically. So there's that balance. And I think that's important for everybody to try to achieve that balance, because we are different. Men are different, women are different
Right.
fundamentally. And I think in order for us to get along well, we have to understand why the other person or gender does why they do what they
Right.
do, you know?
So, have you read other relationship books and said, I want mine to be this way instead of that way?
I purposely didn't read that many other books
Okay,
just for this. I just wanted it to come from me authentically without any
gotcha.
influences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's kind of like some music artists. They won't listen to other people's music
Right,
because it alters their
right.
own
It can.
creativity.
Right.
Um, let's get into chapter one.
Okay.
So throughout your book, you have little pieces of your life
Hmm.
rather than just straight, this is how relationships are. This is how it's going to be.
Hmm.
This is how you find love. You talk about your personal life.
Right.
So,
The reason for that was I mean, that was strategic. And what I wanted people to understand is that I'm saying what I'm saying not because I was born this way. You know what I mean? I had to change my mindset, and I had to change things about myself, right? Which I find that a lot of people have difficulty in doing. And in order for you to elevate, you're going to have to change, because if you don't elevate, you're going to be on the same plane.
right.
And if you're on a low plane, you're going to constantly be on a low plane. So if you want to get up, on a higher plane or a higher frequency or elevation within yourself, you have to make a change, or else you're going to get a constant.
Yeah. You self published.
Yes,
Was that extremely difficult to do?
it was actually extremely easy to do.
Oh, okay.
It was very easy because, I mean, let me just say this: even when I first decided to write the book, I didn't write the book expecting to have all of the stuff that's happening to me now.
Mm-hmm.
That was not on my radar at all. It wasn't my objective. I just did it because I wanted people to have a reference. Like I said, I have a lot of female friends who used to call me for their advice, right?
Right.
So I wanted to create something to where I can just refer people to go check out this book. It really wasn't for monetary gain. It had nothing to do with Instagram and interviews and podcasts and radio shows and speaking at events. I had none of that. Photo shoots, none of that was on the radar. I was very ignorant to the whole process.
But you just said, let me do this and
But once I
let
started,
the
I just
chips fall where they
realized,
may.
yeah, I realized that I can touch a lot more people than I initially anticipated,
Mm,
and I have. It's just crazy because people from Africa, Australia, the Netherlands, all over the world have hit me up and been like, "Your book has changed my life," or "Your book has given me the strength to get out of an abusive relationship."
mm.
You know what I mean? So that in itself is something I didn't anticipate, but I welcome.
But it's motivation,
Yeah, very much so,
and
and
it's
it's
motivation
it's
for
gratifying.
another book.
I've already started the second book. Uh-oh,
Oh,
watch yourself.
do tell.
Watch yourself now.
Hey, people have said a lot of things on this show. You know,
Uh-huh.
you could elaborate on this second book.
The second book is very interesting. The second book is called Conquer Love's Imposter: 10
Hmm.
Love Laws to Victory.
Wow. I'm assuming there's 10 chapters.
There's 10.
See,
High
I,
five. High
I,
five. High five, Nikki.
I
High
try.
five.
I try. I
Yes, 10
try.
chapters. Each chapter is a law. Basically, it's kind of play off of the 10 Commandments, right?
Okay.
So, the 10 Commandments, if you follow the 10 Commandments, you will you will embrace the pleasures of heaven. Uh,
Mm,
I I wrote the book in I created these 10 chapters that if you follow these 10 chapters, you will embrace a heavenly relationship.
mm,
I just feel like there's certain things that we have to do if we expect to have a happy, functional, monogamous relationship.
right.
We just have to do it.
Is that something that you want or
Oh
you're
yeah.
over it now?
Oh, I can't wait to be in love and love and love and have that love reciprocated and wake up next to the woman I adore
Mm.
and kiss her on the forehead before we go to bed, for sure.
You see that possibility happening?
Yeah, of course.
Like if you're so busy, right? Because sometimes we don't even make time to find a relationship or for that relationship to come to you. But
I'm open to it. I think if you're open to it, then you can receive it. But I really believe that whatever's for me is going to be for me,
Hmm.
and I hope that it is for me.
That's true.
But in the book, I listen. It's 8 chapters, but it's real. Some people are going to be able to handle it. Some people won't.
Well,
And
there's a part
uh-oh,
on page 24
oh my goodness.
where
Sentence
you were,
3.
I did my little dabble dabble.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was coming to the part where you were talking about your surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And recently I posted like a get well to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess maybe some of the world who hasn't read your book. I wanted to talk about the motivation part with your doctor saying that you probably wouldn't be able to run.
Right.
I just wanted you to touch a little bit on that, like what your thought process was and how you overcame that situation.
Well, he was right. I still can't run.
But
But
you can lift weights.
I can see. Okay, so this is perfect because I can talk about how I had to alter
Hmm.
my exercise regimen, right? So I was in an accident a few years ago, and I wound up having an ankle surgery, a knee surgery, 3 spinal procedures, and I recently had back surgery. What, 3 weeks ago? 2, 3 weeks ago?
2 weeks.
Monday's going to make 3 weeks.
Okay.
So at that time, he was like, I used to run a lot and I used to exercise a lot,
Yeah.
right? Lift heavy weights, be up in the gym. Like I said, I'm real masculine, right, Nikki? So I used to,
Yeah, I can tell.
so I used to pick things up and put things down. But we used to run. I used to run a lot around Prospect Park, and so when I was going to have the surgery, I was going to, it was supposed to be in January, right? And he was like, yeah. He says it's going to take you a good 6 months to recover. And I'm like calculating February, March, April. Oh, so I'll be able to start running back in June. And he was like, running. He was like, nah, bro,
Mm.
your running days are over. And I'm saying to myself, oh, he don't know me. That's what I was saying in my mind.
Yeah.
But he was right. I mean, I had extensive injuries, and unfortunately, thus far, I have not been able to run. But as far as working out is concerned, I can't lift the weight that I used to lift, but I had to do exercises differently that's still gonna
Mm.
work the muscle, but it's gonna work. I had to trick my body, in other words. So instead of lifting weights, I use resistance bands. And I have to do things at different angles, right? Because of my spine.
Yeah.
So I just had to do things different. You
That's
gotta stay
life.
positive.
That's
Yeah,
it.
because you know what? I have a leg. I
Yeah.
could have lost it.
That. Mm.
I could be paralyzed.
Yeah.
I could have
You
been in a
gotta.
situation to where I can't lift anything,
Yeah. You have to
but I
look at
can.
the
So
brighter side of things
exactly. You
sometimes.
have to you have to look at the silver lining in all situations, in life, in death. There's always a positive. You just have to find it.
Yeah.
I believe that.
How do you find it though?
You just have to accept the fact that everything is not going to always be rosy.
Some people have a hard time accepting things.
So,
The
chapter two,
serenity
chapter
curve,
two of the book, acceptance. Chapter 2, they're like, you have to accept things. Like there are certain things that are going to happen to you in your life that you have zero control over.
Yeah.
When snap your finger and get $1 million.
Wiggle
Exactly.
my
You have no
nose,
control
get a
over it.
million
It doesn't mean you're
dollars.
not going to get it in the future.
Yeah.
It's just that you don't have the power to do that right here and now,
Mm.
or you could.
This kind of goes into chapter 3.
Uh-oh, what's that?
Mend the broken you.
You have to mend the broken you. That's talking about the elevation,
Right.
right? So in order for you to progress, like Jay-Z said, you can't heal what you don't reveal.
Mm.
If you don't reveal it, if you don't accept the fact there are certain things that has happened to you in your life that takes you out of your comfort zone, or if there are things that has not happened to you that you would like to have happened.
Right.
Once you can accept it, then you can move on. But to me, like, denial is the greatest growth stunter. Stunts your growth. You know what I mean? Denial. But once you can accept things, then it allows you to accept it, embrace it, overcome it,
Yeah.
and grow.
Except the things we cannot change.
Exactly.
So wants versus needs.
Yes.
Now, for those who don't know, Frank and I have been together for a while.
Yeah, baby.
Not together,
Oh,
but
oh, damn.
like on
You breaking up already?
this is what interview number three,
Three.
four,
Three.
five.
Who's
So
counting?
I lost count. So the wants versus needs. For those who don't remember from our second interview, you got to explain the wants versus the needs.
The wants versus needs.
Break it down.
All right.
Take them to school
Wants
slash
versus
church.
needs, I think is probably one of the most, like, they're all very important in their own right. But wants versus needs, I think, is extremely, extremely, extremely important. If you expect to have a happy, functional, monogamous relationship.
We gotta
Happy,
say,
functional, monogamous. Because we can have a relationship and not be happy.
true,
We can have a relationship and not be monogamous or functional, right?
true, yeah.
But I would imagine that most sane people want to have a happy, functional, monogamous relationship. And in order to do that, you have to know yourself,
Mm.
right? You have to know what you can tolerate, what you can't tolerate, what you want versus what you need. So you may want somebody who's 6'3", right? But you may find the love of your life who's 5'10",
Or
right?
411.
All right. Well, I mean, like, hey, listen, if you're okay with 4'11",
We just so
exactly. It's all up to you. Hey,
it
your
happens.
needs,
It
I have
happens.
no judgment on your needs, Nikki. If you want somebody who's up to your knees, then that's your need. You're all good. But seriously, I think that's very, very important because a lot of times I do consulting work also, right,
Okay.
for couples and as well as individuals. And that's one of the first questions that I ask them. What are your needs? What do you need from your spouse?
Hmm.
Because we all, if we want to live, right, we need three things to live: water, food, and air.
Air.
Water, food, and air, right? You can't sacrifice one of those things and sustain life.
Right.
You will die,
In some way, shape, or form.
right?
Sooner or later.
You may not die right then and there, right?
Right.
But at some point, you're going to die.
Right.
I can start giving you food right now. You're not going to die right now, but at some point, you're going to die.
Right.
Same thing with water. At some point, you're going to die. It's the same thing with a relationship. If your spouse is not providing you with something that you need, at some point, the relationship is going to die.
Hmm.
And that's very difficult for people to understand and to embrace, because one of the reason why I entitled the book Revolutionizing How to Love is because I feel the way that we've been taught to pursue and endure relationships is just absolutely wrong in many, 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 many ways, right? Because what we've been taught is relationships are hard,
Yes.
relationships are difficult.
Yeah.
They don't have to be.
Mm.
Wrong relationships are absolutely hard. Wrong
Oh,
couples, wrong matches are absolutely hard and absolutely difficult.
yeah.
But if you are in a right relationship, if you're in a good, functional, happy, monogamous relationship, is it going to be hard? It's not going to be hard. It's not that it doesn't mean that you're never going to have a challenge.
Right.
It just means that the relationship itself is not going to be hard. There are too many people who are spending way too much time trying to make the relationship work than the relationship actually working.
Right.
True or false?
True.
Absolutely. There are much more unhappy people than there are
Mm.
happy people.
So we should take that out of our vocabulary to say, oh, that relationships are hard.
Right,
It
because
should
so
be
it's a
there's
program,
certain things that are challenging about the relationship, but
right?
not necessarily the relationship's
Relationship,
hard.
right? And
Mm.
that's a mindset,
Yeah.
right? Because imagine if as a child, you keep hearing relationships are hard, relationships are hard, relationships are hard. When you get into a difficult relationship, you're going
Hmm.
to sustain it. You're going to stay in it because that's
Right.
what a relationship is
That's what
supposed
you're
to be,
thinking it's supposed to be.
right? But when you know better, you do better. So when
Mm.
you know that a relationship is, when you know that a red flag is the difficulty in a relationship, you know what, I might want to bounce because this is just too hard.
So, what do you think, in your opinion, what are some red flags in a relationship?
When you feel a vacancy, like sometimes you get into a relationship and you're like, man, I'm just not happy. It's not that I'm not happy because today's Thursday and I'm not happy. I'm just like, I'm not happy with you. I haven't been happy for the past year.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's different. There's a difference between being an unhappy moment
Yeah.
and in an unhappy state.
Yeah.
You understand? Like that's a significant difference. Like I'm in an unhappy state of being, versus today's not the best day. Like you can be madly in love and that person just pisses you off. Yeah, I'm pissed off right at the moment. I'm pissed off.
But you
But I
get
don't
over it.
but you my baby. You know what I'm saying? I still love you. I don't want to not be with you anymore.
Right.
Yeah, you just got on my nerves just now though.
Right. But you get over it.
You get over it.
So, what do you do in a situation where someone is cheating? You're madly in love,
Hmm.
but then the person cheats on you.
It depends on you. Is cheating a deal breaker?
Hmm. That is for our viewers to answer.
No comment?
No comments.
Okay. Well,
We
for
not get in
me,
trouble.
for me, I'll put it back on me, Nikki.
Okay, yes, yes.
For me, cheating is a deal breaker.
Okay.
Point blank, period. I get a lot of flack for that sometimes, but one of my needs is trust.
Hmm.
Not trust sometimes, not trust once in the blue. Trust, period. So if you come home 30 minutes late and the excuse that you give or the reason that you give sounds a little fishy,
Mm,
I don't want to have to question it. I'm just going to believe it because I know I have trust in you. I know
right,
that you're going to do the right thing. I believe you're going to do the right thing.
right.
But if I don't trust you, that's how problematic is that going to be,
Hey.
right? So to answer your question, if listen, there are people in divorce court who are still in love with each other right now.
Mm,
They're in love, not that they love the person. They're still in love with the person, but their needs are not being provided. So they're getting a divorce. They're no longer happy with that person. But you can still be in love with someone and still not be happy. Does that make sense?
So, what's the difference between love,
Hmm.
loving,
Hmm.
and being in love with someone?
When you are in love with that person, you still have that burning desire. You still have that. Um, it's more than just caring about the person. It's a connection. You still feel that connection. You still feel that vibe, right? But just because you're in love does not mean that person is the right person for you,
Mm.
right?
Do you think that some people just settle
I think most people
because
settle.
they're mentally like, oh, I was watching Paternity Court the other day.
Uh-uh.
And so the guy says, well, I'm staying with her because we've been together for so long.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go out and find somebody else.
Right. So I talk about that in the book, which is I talk about being anchored in your relationship.
Okay.
Right. So what that means is there are many people who are in relationships and they're anchored in their relationship, meaning they would otherwise be out of the relationship if they didn't have that anchor.
Right.
So what is an anchor?
It's like you're just,
History,
hmm,
children,
yeah.
mortgage. It's cheaper to keep her, finances. Right. There's reasons why they're still together, and it's not necessarily being in love with that person.
Mm,
They just can't leave it, but they can't, or they feel as though they can't leave at this time. They're anchored.
interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. I cut you off with the in love part.
Yeah. So, like when you're in love, man, that's just a beautiful, beautiful feeling,
Have you
right?
ever been in love?
I sure have.
Are you still in love now?
Hey, listen, what time is it? What time is it, Nikki? Boy, look at that.
Look at
Listen,
the time.
it's there is
Complicated.
yeah, it's complex. I mean,
It's
we're not
it's
together,
complicated.
but just because you're in love doesn't mean that you find out of love. I feel like I found my soulmate, right? And I actually posted this on Instagram the other day, talking about soulmates. But we're not together. We don't live in the same state. We haven't been together in quite some time. But that's an extreme bond, and we're not together because of differences within us. It's
Right.
just circumstances that prevents us from being
Right.
together,
Together.
right? So that's hard too, but it's a reality and it's okay. And I accept it.
What are some of the craziest questions that you've had on Instagram? Uh, Actually, you know what? Tell the story about the prostitute.
Oh my goodness, you crazy. I was accosted is not the right word, but I was solicited on a live one time.
All right, we're going to pass
But she
that.
didn't she didn't she didn't she didn't know what was going on. She was a little. She was a little high,
She was a little,
Nikki.
she
She
was
was
a
a little
little,
high.
she was a little cray cray.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What are
Crazy.
some of the questions that you've had on Instagram, if you recall?
Um, I mean, I've gotten a lot of offers on on Instagram.
Should be offers.
Like, can you come visit me? You could, oh, you should come to my state. Oh, you should come out of, even out of country. You should come to my country. And I'm like, you can stay with me and my family. Well, who's your family? Oh, me and my son. Oh, say what now?
Is that a deal breaker for you? Someone who has children already?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah, nah.
Uh,
I ain't got no problem. As long as it's not babies, kids,
Right.
I'm good.
Let's talk about where we can find your book.
On Amazon. You can go to my
Amazon.
website, which is www.frankcjohnson.com. And there'll be a link there to where you can
Yes. Now
purchase
you
the
have a
book.
new website.
Yes, I'm moving up, Nikki.
Yes. What else do you have going on?
I have so much going on. Are you running out of time? You about to kick me out? Oh,
No.
okay, we got time. All right. Yeah, I have a lot going on right now. I got a lot going on.
You have any events coming
I
up? Any
have a
book
big event coming
signings
up. Y'all
coming
got to
up?
listen. On September 7th, I'm going to be doing Circle of Sisters.
Yes.
That's going to be so
I'll be
lit.
there. I'll be there.
Book I'll be at booth 241. I'm going to post it on my Instagram though. I just found out today.
Oh, nice. Wait,
Yeah.
say that booth again.
241.
2-4. All right, I'll stalk you. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you gonna be doing there?
Selling my books, selling t-shirts, having and giving women and oh that's gonna come out wrong.
Don't say it if it's not gonna come out right.
It will be a great experience.
Okay. Yes. Are you
Yes.
excited?
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm going to meet a lot of people. I'm going to be able to talk about what I do, why I do it,
Yeah,
and the other big thing that's going to be going on soon is I kind of gave a little teaser on Instagram the other day.
I
Big
didn't see it.
surprise.
I didn't see it.
That's 'cause you don't
You
be
don't be
following.
tagging
You don't be
me.
following me,
You gotta
man.
tag. All right,
Uh,
you guys gotta tag me and stuff at Nikki Marie _radio.
okay.
Tag me on Instagram so I
Hey,
know what's going on. I
yeah,
like to attend
yeah.
networking events.
Well, this is way beyond networking.
I like
This
to
is going to be.
promote,
Oh, hey, listen, I'm all about promotion.
repost.
Yes, I'm going to be doing a Embrace Your Queendom
Ooh,
self-love retreat in
yes.
Costa Rica.
See, see.
What? That's going to be so lit.
All right, so now Frank C. Johnson is exiting the building. No.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
going to be
that's gonna
amazing.
be
Yes,
nice.
yes, yes. I can't wait.
You have dates set up, or
Yes, we have.
you want to put it out there, or you just
It's going to be in February.
okay?
I believe it's going to be February 17th to the 21st.
Nice.
Yep.
Is this
So
just
basically, what it's going to
for
be,
single
it's
women,
going to be
all women?
for 30 women. I'm only taking 30 women. I want it to be intimate. I want it to be life changing. I want it to be just an amazing, amazing event.
Okay.
And like I said, um, embrace your queendom. I feel like there are way too many women who just do not understand the power that they hold.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are too many women who don't understand how important it is to have self-love and self-esteem and self-confidence and how they need to be emboldened.
I'm sorry, right.
Is this the shake 'em up? Nah. Oh, that's over there. Okay. What's going on? What's going on here, Nikki? Yeah, so that's gonna be dope, man. I just can't wait. I just can't wait to have it.
So how do these women? Do you choose them? Do they apply?
They
They
just
like,
gonna, whoever wants to go.
and they just hit you up like,
Yep. They just email me and I'm going to put the pricing and everything. We're in the process of doing that right now, but it's been pretty much solidified.
all right, say your email again, just so everybody knows.
My email is frankcjohnson, the number 1 at gmail.com. My website is www.frankcjohnson.com, and my Instagram is at frankcjohnson.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
so
I can't wait. You
everybody,
going?
I mean, I wasn't personally invited,
I just invited you.
so I don't know if I'm going.
I just
So
invited. But
anyway,
I just invited you, Nikki.
no, you didn't.
You going?
How
You
was that
coming?
an invite?
Nikki, would you like to come on the Costa Rica trip?
Yes, I would.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. It's gonna be lit.
No, it's not. No,
Yeah,
it's
it's gonna
not.
be dope, man. It's gonna be like, listen,
I'm
my
not
objective.
going. I'm not going.
How you gonna bring me up to knock me down?
Trouble. I see trouble.
Why?
All right, women empowerment. That's all. That's all it's about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What else you
Wait, I
thinking of?
want to know what else is going to be going on.
It's gonna be great. I mean, I mean, it's gonna be a great thing because my objective for the women are to for them to develop a sisterhood, and I feel that that's going to be important
Okay, then I'll go.
for them to have that
Then I'll go.
strength
Okay.
and to to get over certain things that they need to get over. And but it's also going to be very reflective, and it's going to be very introspective. And I think, like I said, in order for you to excel, you have to accept certain things, right?
Yeah.
And there are reasons as to why women stay in abusive relationships or they stay in relationships that they're not happy in. So once you find out what that reason are, those reasons are, then
Mhm.
you can move on and not necessarily endure those type of
Right.
scenarios.
This is an amazing book.
Thank you.
Um, I can't wait for the second one.
I think the second one is going to be even more amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, why do you think that it's going to be more amazing than this one? Because this has been like a Bible love guide,
Thank you. Thank you.
right?
I think it's going to be even more amazing because this one has is much more interactive,
Hmm.
and there's going to be like quizzes at the end of it. There are going to be
Oh,
exercises at the end of it, even though I have some in this one too. But this one, after every chapter, there's going to be a quiz. You could
I
take
love
notes,
that.
and it's going to be just a lot more interactive.
Yeah. I was looking at something online, kind of like a compatibility survey.
Hmm.
Do you believe in those? It's like basically like you're taking a test
Right.
to determine if you would know if you're compatible with someone, I guess you could
Okay,
say.
so you can be compatible with someone, and not that person doesn't necessarily need to be the one for you, right?
Mm,
As an example, so like in this book, Revolutionizing How to Love, I do the exercise to where you can write down all of your wants and needs, right?
okay.
I can introduce you to somebody who satisfies all of those needs, and y'all meet, y'all just don't click,
Mm,
right? It goes
okay.
beyond the paper. It goes beyond, just the knowledge of what you want and what you need from that person. What you also have to understand, I feel like we're primarily all spiritual beings,
Right.
right? This beautiful shell that you have is just a host for your spirit
Mm-hmm.
to manifest itself in this physical realm, right? But once this beautiful, gorgeous shell has decomposed, hate to be so morbid, but your spirit is going to continue,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the spiritual connection is a connection that we need to really focus on if we expect to have longevity in a happy, monogamous, functional relationship.
Is that similar to someone saying, "Oh, she's beautiful on the outside, but horrible on the inside"? Some people
There's
just
some
have
validity to that, yes.
that type of aura that
Yeah,
you just can't mesh with, I
yeah.
guess.
I mean, like if you have a lot of people saying that, then yeah, that needs to be checked.
How do you how do you change yourself?
Except you'll hear me say,
Like
listen,
if you're not a nice person, how do you change that about yourself?
there's a lot of that. I mean, that's deep. You have to be really willing to um, look deep within yourself and
Figure out
accept
what's going on.
things. Listen, I'm a firm believer for every action, there's a reaction,
Hmm.
and we are a product of our environment and so on and so forth. So, like I talk about in the book, I was very angry when I was a kid. Why? Because I grew up in a dysfunctional household.
Right. I read
So
that in the
that's
first
that's the
chapter. Yeah.
reason as to why I was so angry. So you have to. Uh, First thing I had to do was accept the fact that I was angry. And
Mm,
people used to tell me all the time, "Yo, why are you so angry?" And I used to get angry
yeah.
for people saying that all the time. But I didn't even realize in myself how angry I was. I thought that I was just I didn't realize I was being argumentative. I just thought that I was, voicing my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But no, I was argumentative, and I had a lot of anger inside. So you just have to go within yourself, find out why you are the way that you are, and what caused it, cause and effect, right? So there's something that causes you to be the way that you are.
Mhm. Wow.
And that's hard for a lot of people to do, by the way.
Acceptance.
Yes, and for everybody that's
That's
listening, especially listen, I have a lot of people who hit me up in my DMs, and my demographic is primarily women, and I love, 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 love my women. I honestly do. And I feel like that. I feel like I am the ambassador for women in a sense, right? Because I'm giving you an honest, unbiased perspective
hmm
from a male's perspective. It's unbiased. I don't have an ulterior motive at all. I'm trying to tell y'all exactly what it is. But you want to know what I find?
what?
It's hard for women to point with their thumb. They like to point with this finger, right? But this one right here,
Mm,
they're not really trying to hear that. It's hard for women to say, yeah, I'm the cause of this, or I need to change that, or I need to improve that. And it's okay. Nobody's perfect,
right.
right? We're not all perfect, right? We have our imperfections, but we have to be willing to fix those imperfections. It's not okay for you to just say, I'm imperfect and accept me as I am. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, that's revolutionizing how to love. Change that mindset. Men are not going to accept you as you are if the reasons why you are negatively impacting a relationship. If you got jealousy issues, anger issues, all types of insecurities, selfish issues, it's going to be problematic.
Yeah.
Don't think that a man is going to do. If you really love me, accept me as I am. That goes both ways. I'm not just saying just women, but when you meet the love of your life, right? Do you want to meet the best version of that person
Mm.
or the worst version of that person?
I think the conversation that we had before was that I feel people come to you in a mask. They don't
Mhm.
show who they truly are
Right?
until, oh, I got you now.
Some people,
Some people.
right? So those people who have a mask, what are
hmm
they really hiding? Right?
They're hiding that evil, possessive, controlling. I can go on and on.
Whatever it is, that whatever those negative characteristics are,
Right.
right?
All the negative characteristics. They're
Right. So
hiding
those are the
that.
people that I'm referring to that need
Okay.
help.
Yeah.
Those people need to help, need help.
And the thing is, like, if you don't accept that you do need that help, you're not going to get it. And then you're always going to have a relationship that's poisoned,
Yes.
it's toxic.
Listen, if I have a clear glass of water and a clear glass of water laced with cyanide,
Hmm.
and I pour both those glasses into a bowl. The water in the
Eh,
bowl is what?
it's just always
It's going to be toxic. It
toxic.
doesn't matter how clear this water
Right.
is, right? If this water is toxic and I merge them together, that bowl of water is now going to be toxic. If it doesn't matter how much you've worked on yourself,
hmm
how um, poison free you are. If you get with someone who's toxic, you're guaranteed to have a
Yeah.
toxic relationship. Why? Because he's going to bring that toxic energy.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
It's like someone who's always angry, but
Yes.
then someone who is always nice and bubbly and fun. You put them together, and now the person that was all bubbly and happy
hmm
has changed because of the things that that other person is putting them through.
And that bubbly, happy person is a human being with
Yeah.
emotions, right?
Yeah.
So they can only take but so much abuse. But remember this also: if that person that's bubbly and happy understands their self worth,
hmm
they're not going to tolerate it. They're not going to. They know that they deserve something much more than that.
But what about the women who stay in abusive
There's a
relationships?
reason why they're staying in an abusive relationship. They have to look within themselves.
Mm.
Listen, here are the facts. Y'all could Google it. You can check it out. Out of 100 couples who get married, 60%, we're just about at 60% end up in divorce.
Mm.
That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%. What people don't take into account, so that's 60% done, right? People don't really take into account that remaining balance of the 40%.
Hmm.
Of that 40%, more than half of those people are what I call anchored in their relationship, right?
Right.
They're only in that relationship. They're not happy, but they're there because they have kids, or they have that tuition to pay,
hmm
right? Or they have that mortgage. They can't really sustain themselves on their own. So
Right.
combined, they can sustain themselves, but together they can't, right? I mean, separated they can't. So you have 60 plus another 20 to
Mm,
25% of unhappy people in their union. That means that there's a remaining balance of like 15%
that's
of
crazy.
100.
That's crazy.
So the question is, why is that? Isn't that interesting?
That's very
You
interesting.
know why that is? I'm gonna tell you, Nikki. I wrote
Yeah,
a book.
tell me, tell me.
It's because people settle.
Mm,
People settle for less than what they need in a relationship. I promise you, that's what it is. But people, listen, people really don't want to accept that fact, man. People feel like I've invested so much time and energy into
mm.
this relationship and I don't want to let it go. All you're doing, the longer you're with Mr. Wrong, the longer you're going to be without Mr. Right.
But people are married for like 10, 20 years before they even get a divorce.
Sometimes that happens. That's the other thing.
Or sometimes they're waiting for their kids to turn 18, 21, or whatever. They're like, oh, we got to stay together.
So what are parents actually doing in that scenario? They're teaching their kids how to stay in an unhappy relationship because you think the kids don't know?
And what happens is some of them, they would wait for their kids to fall asleep and then sleep in separate rooms.
And you think the kids don't know what's going on?
I'm sure they know.
Of course, they
I'm
have to
sure
they
they
have to feel the energy.
Right,
It's not a loving environment.
right.
So you're teaching your kids how to sustain them, how to stay in an unloving,
Mm,
non-loving environment. So it's cyclical. It's going to continue. You
yeah.
have to break that cycle. Sometimes
Wow.
listen, revolutionizing how to love, right? Revolutionizing how to love. What did it say? Oh, you took these vows of forever, to death do us part. Whatever. I'm not with that. And we've got this one life to live, right?
Yeah.
You need to live it as happily and as prosperously as you possibly can,
Yeah.
as fruitfully as you can. You have to feed your spirit. You have to be happy. So if that means saying, you know what, we need to separate in order for that to happen, then you might want to separate. I'm not saying that your options are going to be easy.
Mhm.
I'm saying it's an option. Staying in an unhappy situation, you're unhappy.
Right.
Being single, you still might not be as happy as you want to be, but you're going to be happier than being in that toxic environment.
Some people are afraid to be alone.
Yeah, some people are.
Some people are afraid to be alone. Some people feel like, oh, I'm having a hot girl summer, but then winter comes and they want to get somebody to
Um,
cuddle up
what's a
next
hot girl
to.
summer? I hear that phrase all the time, and I've been too embarrassed to ask. Well, what's a hot girl summer?
So I think, because I'm not really about that life, but I think a hot girl summer is someone who is probably newly divorced or newly separated,
Oh,
newly single, and now they're like, yo, I can do whatever I want to do. I can go
so that's
anywhere I
not your
want to
situation?
go. No. So anyway,
Uh-huh.
so when winter comes, they want to, have that little teddy bear or that little nest egg and just get somebody. So they're on
Mm-hmm.
the first person that they see or that they meet.
Okay. All right.
You don't feel that way?
Okay. Yeah.
You're having a hot guy summer?
I've been single for a minute. So
Are you looking for Mrs. Perfect?
I wouldn't say I'm looking, but I am hoping to be
If you would
with
like a date with Frank C. Johnson, please call. No.
www.frankcjohnson.com. um, I am not settling for less than the perfect person for me.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that she's not going to have any flaws. It means that those flaws are tolerable for me.
Mm,
You understand?
yeah.
So people think sometimes, oh, you just want the perfect woman doesn't exist. The perfect person for me exists.
I always think that it's so weird that relationship coaches or advisors are single and
You know why?
tell tell
Because
tell me why
when
again.
you're on this side of the fence, right? You understand, like I've been in a toxic relationship. I learned my lesson. I'm not doing it again.
So are you afraid
Afraid of what?
to be in a relationship?
Of course not. I can't wait.
So
You
why
think
are you still single? No.
do you think I want to wake up next to my empty pillow?
Of course.
Not.
It's easy.
Of course not. Who wants to do that? You want to do that? I don't want to do that.
No, I want to wake up to reading Revolutionizing How to Love, a Guide to a Successful Relationship by Frank C. Johnson.
I want to open up the door and be like,
That's
honey, I'm home. That's the life I want. But,
that's just not right
but
now.
I wish it was right now.
Well,
I just haven't,
can't
I
rush
just haven't
things.
found her.
Can't rush things.
We just
So,
our unions, our paths just have not crossed yet.
hmm,
For and who knows why?
well, at least you still believe in love.
Yes, of course. Don't you?
Because some people's situations make them not believe in love anymore.
Do you believe in love?
I believe in happiness.
Say what now?
I believe in love.
Okay. Thank you.
And on that note, so, all
That's good.
right.
I'm glad that you believe in
So,
love.
tell everyone where they can find your book and how to get in touch with you.
If you want to get in touch with me, I think the easiest way is probably on Instagram, which is Frank C. Johnson. I'm sorry, at Frank C. Johnson on Instagram.
Why did I say at? Okay, go ahead.
Don't you have to say at?
No.
And my website is www.frankcjohnson.com. And my email is frankcjohnson, the number one, at gmail.com.
Yay.
Yay.
So, your event again is on September 7th,
September
which is a
7th
Saturday, people.
from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'll be at booth number 241.
You're going to be there the whole time?
I'm going to be there all day with my people.
Oof. 10 a.m.
I have
to
great stamina.
10 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for joining and tuning in. Everybody watching, listening, and all that good stuff
Yes, yes.
to Leadership and Readership Hour with Frank C.
Yes, it was a
Johnson.
pleasure. I love doing this. We got to do it more often.
Yes. This is no, we can't.
You don't
This
want to
is
see me too
it's
soon.
gonna be
It's
like
too soon.
4 times.
So what? It's great.
All right, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Nikki Marie _radio.